Hello, I'm Steve. Welcome to the Patio Heat channel, where we create visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for outdoor comfort. Our one-on-one customer support helps you make the best decisions for your applications. We strive to earn your business. Visit our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Now let's get heating. All right, so we have this residential application, and as you might see here, we have three different structures that we are going to look at heating. Number one is the main structure. Let's go ahead and look at the overall dimensions. So we have 29 feet this direction here. We have about estimated 9.5 feet from the inside edge of the wall to the inside edge of the pillar structure here. And then we have a couple different heights. Heights wise, we have to the lower section of the ceiling, we have about 9 foot 4 inches, and then the upper we have 10 inches. This 8-inch portion right here, and then you can see here we have 1 foot 6 on the edges over here, 1 foot 4 we'll call it there, and I think over here it's about 1 foot 4 as well. I don't have that measurement here. The arch here we only have about 1 or 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches, something of that nature. And the arch height here we have at 9 foot 2, arch center to center about 9 foot center to center roughly. Let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's about it. On this side here we have roughly a 16.4 outside edge to outside edge, and then I'm just measuring the distance between the seating positions here, roughly about 8 foot. And what I'm doing here is the center of the table here is basically in the center of the covered section over here on the end. I have a 8'7" height. And then over here, this structure doesn't exist yet, but this is something that they had mentioned that they wanted to make a structure over here. So I have the same height as that of the structure, 8'7", and then the same width at 16.4.5. Then I have a slanted back end over here. But essentially, we're just going to be looking at heating over here, roughly about a 4-foot section is all we're really concerned about over there. So. All right, I think that's about it for the dimensions. Let's go ahead and turn that off and look at, first of all, different scenarios here with regards to heating up this section here. First of all, the client had asked that they place the heaters over here somewhere so that they're a little less visible when you're looking outside of the residence itself. So we'll go ahead and show that. That is something I would probably not recommend, and I'm going to show you why just here in a second. First of all, let me go ahead and turn those on. The clearance, first of all, you need a 6,000 watt unit in order to heat up this space correctly with regards to the height. When you put a 6,000 watt, whether it's the CD model, which is this one here, a CD 6024, or a WD 6024, which is a little bit different configuration, you need to make sure you use the extended arms because the clearance on a heater mounted on the ends, angled out, has to have a 12-inch clearance from the top to the bottom. And then also there's a detail you can see around these windows here, or the doorways rather, and that detail, I have it come out about 3 inches from the wall here. I'm not quite sure if that's combustible or not. However, the clearance I have is from the wall right now. It may be combustible, so it may have to come out 3 additional inches further out to the right over here. So obviously that is something that does not look good, as well as the fact that when you do have the heater mounted over here and your exposed side is on this side of the opening, then you really don't want heat from the back side of you. You kind of want it from the front side of you. So that would be something like this, I believe. And let me go ahead and turn this one off. And of course, we do have the same issue with regards to the clearance above. So this is something, again, I'm not really very convinced that this is the best application as well. However, it does put out a very good footprint of heat. And that being said, this is something that you may consider. However, that 12 inches of clearance is something that bothers me. So, but you can see here we got a nice, complete coverage around here. And this is again, the exposed side over here on the right. So that is what really works well. Now, my recommended application would be something like this, where you actually just place it in the center of these openings over here. Now, I realize there are some speakers and possibly maybe a sprinkler system, something of that nature up here. But when you place it centered within these spans here, you're going to get a really nice coverage throughout the whole entire space here. All right, so that is my recommendations. 3 of the 6,000 watt units for this application, pointed straight down to the ground, mounted in the center of each one of these openings up here. The area over here, there's going to be a couple of different options. So I'm going to start looking at, first of all, just go right into this is probably my second preferred application, and I only say this because of the fact that these are slimline 2024s, so 2400 watts at 240 volts, and actually you can move the junction box. I have them on the same side on both of these. You can flip this one over to the right so your electrical lines can come in this way and then come in down over here. However, the footprint of heat isn't as great as they would be for a different model. It's really designed for a lower application, and also the footprint is just not wide enough to heat up the space when you're actually sitting on a table. You want to make sure that you're heating up the place that you are actually sitting, not just the table itself. So this is something I'm not too happy about, but let's go ahead and look at maybe another possibility, and that would be something of this nature. And these are 4,000 watt slimline units, and you can see it has a wider footprint of heat, more suitable for this type of application. However, you still are heating the majority of the table itself and not the seating positions. So it might be better to take these 2 units here and then actually move additional 2 units, maybe 6 feet further over, and then you have a nice footprint of heat throughout this whole span, so that during different times of the season you could just move the table and chairs somewhere more into the line of the heater's footprint of heat. So let's go ahead and just move that over. Maybe I'm just going to go with half a foot there, or excuse me, half the distance, which is 3 feet. And so now you can see how you have this really nice coverage here. So again, this is something that you would have to consider, and I'm going to go ahead and move this back and then show you just 2 different options that I am still not too happy about. However, this might be something that will work. Again, these are 2 4,000 watt slimline units, and obviously we're only heating half the area of this space here. So again, you'd have to move during different times of the year, you'd have to move that table in so that you're actually in that footprint of heat. So that's 3.5 feet that I just moved it, and you can see now we have good coverage in this type of lineup here. And I actually have the heaters so that they're just on the edge of this steel bracket up here. So we're not worried about clearances above here because this is all steel construction here. All right, and then the last view of this would be possibly placing units further out. Now this doesn't look well, but this is just something that you can actually do. You can move these brackets, these channels here, down the top side of the heater itself. You can see there's a little channel here. They will slide back and forth, and you can tighten the bolt that holds it in place. This heater is a 4,000 watt unit, slimline. It requires 30 inches from bracket to bracket. That's the minimum distance apart from each other that you can go, and you want to make sure that this heater is level when you mount it, something like this. So all right, I think that is about it for that. Last thing I just want to mention about this is when you, let's see here, when you put the heaters like this, the manufacturer does recommend that you keep approximately 3 feet of distance from end to end. That's not a code thing, that is a recommendation that the manufacturer makes. And what I've done here is I just made sure, I'm not quite sure what this post here is made out of, so I kept my 18 inches of clearance from this edge here to the edge of the heater, and then same with this edge here to the edge over here, 18 inches of clearance. So All right, let's go ahead and look at this last option over here. And this last option, because the seating is different over here and the structure is a little bit different, I'm just going to recommend 2 of the slimline 2424s. So this would work out very well, and it's a little bit lower in its dimension. I believe it is 42 inches, something of that nature. I'd have to double check, about 40 inches roughly from end to end. And you can see here that we get a really nice coverage for something of this nature. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plans, please send your information into designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve. Please tap that like button if you find this video useful. We're not monetized. YouTube does not promote us unless we receive thumbs up, and we really do need those from our viewers. So thank you in advance for doing that. Have a great day.